Good morning. I'm sitting out here playing grandma. Took my grandbaby to the doctor's office today for her first doctor's appointment with my son and his girl. I was just sitting out here thinking, I haven't done a moment of truth in a while. The thing that was on my mind and my heart was, we need to learn to watch our mouth. We need to learn to watch what comes out of our mouth, watch what we say. Because do you know that your mouth, your tongue, governs everything in your life? Scriptures tell us that, it's a small steering wheel, but it's called the helm that governs and steers and guides a big old ship. The tongue is a small member of our body, but it can rack up some stuff. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. That's in Proverbs 18:21, I believe. So if life and death is in the power of the tongue, why wouldn't you speak life? I mean, that is life in your situation, life in your job, life in your friends, your family. Yes, we need to speak death to some things. I've had to, shake the dust off a few things in my life. But that's like the pruning. You prune things out of your life that's not edifying, not necessary. We were made in the image of God. I preach this all the time. We were made in the image of God. That's in the book of Genesis. And to be in that image, which means we can do the same things that he did, which means he didn't use a shovel or anything to erect the mountains, and he didn't use anything physical to erect anything. All he did was speak it, because God is spirit, just like we're spirit. We are spirit living in a vessel. Some of us don't like the way our vessel is. Some of us may find our vessel overweight. Some of us may not like, the way our nose was shaped, or, they got liposuction and cosmetic surgery and everything. But that is things that can be changed. And those things can only be changed by the will of the spirit. When we die, the flesh is going to go back to the ground. It's the spirit that's going to reach judgment with God. The spirit is eternal, whether you live in heaven or hell at the end of this. So why live in hell down here in a vessel that ain't going to go with you? Talking to people and being surrounded around people that's edifying. If they're not talking nothing that's, edifying to you or anybody else, what's that going to profit you? What's that going to profit them? We got to watch what we say. We can speak depression into our life. I don't like this or this, talking COVID-19 stuff, fear all the time, listening to the news. We can get so caught up in fear, and, fear is not of God. We can get so caught up in fear to where that will be our God. COVID be our God. I mean, we obey the laws of the land, but at some point, we got to put God first. When they go to talking about vaccines and chips and all that kind of stuff, I won't be obeying the laws of the land. I'm just going to let you know. Dr. Bell is not going to be obeying the laws of the land, because I serve my Father. I'm sold out for him. He's done more for me than this world has ever done or will ever can do. So when they start talking about vaccines and chips, and like I say, my kids don't do vaccines now. As a religious freedom, I'm a pastor. As a religious freedom, we don't have to do those things. I homeschool my children anyway. So I was already prepared for this COVID-19 thing. I seen some things as a bus driver that was going on, and I knew that I couldn't be a mother and a bus driver. So I've been homeschooling my daughter since she was in like 5th grade. Marcus graduated from homeschool. So, and walked to Artemis Ham Hall. Matter of fact, I think I still got the video on my Resilient Truths page. So, that's what a lot of this is bringing us back to, is bringing us back to being with our family. You know, some of us don't want to be with our children because we don't even know who our children are anymore, because they've been raised by PlayStation and social media and teachers and everything out there. So we don't know who we even have in our home anymore. I have dinner with my children. We have dinner in a movie. We always together. We're connected through cell phones and everything. I don't care. When my son was working at the job, he have a problem, he texts his mama real quick, and I would give him a word or let him know or something. I'm very intertwined with my children. That's how, they're my ride or dies. So if anything goes down, it goes down with all of us. I'm old school. That's the way I was raised. It was what was worked. So I raised my children to be close to me. I'm not their friend. I'm their pastor, but, I'm their mother. God, I use the word of God to raise my children. Thank God that they are spirit filled. They accepted Christ for themselves. So that made it a whole lot easier. All I got to do is say, I'm going to pray, and they'll straighten up in a minute, because they know when mama pray, things happen. I stay and pray without ceasing, because I can't handle the things out here, by myself. And, prayer takes care of the things before they even get to me. The things that I don't even know. Like I testified the other day, going along, it's a thorn in my side. He told me, he said, when I get married, that my husband was going to help me intercede and pray the diabetes off of me or whatever. And y'all know I ain't got time to be sitting there being a wife right now, because I got too many things that I'm doing. But like I said, he's whipping it around, making it where I have more time on my hands and stuff like that. And in my mindset, I don't believe, I don't need no middleman. It's just me and God, raise my children. I said I can't see where that would be a blessing to me at the age that I am right now. I'm like set in my ways. And, I love my life the way it is. And when you bring in another life, you're bringing in not only that person, but you bringing in their demons and their challenges and all that too. And I feel like I'm dealing with enough on my own. So every woman that's out there that's single ain't sitting around thinking, that, they desperate for, a man or a marriage or something like that. But, like I said, but and even in that, watching what I say, I'm talking against it, because it's not really something that I want right now. I just, I want to get this book out. I got all these kind of things that I want to be a grandmama. I got all these things that I want to do, but, God is saying that marriage is supposed to be the ministry that loves you back. I agree with that. It's supposed to be. Marriage ain't supposed to hurt. You ain't supposed to be unequally yoked with somebody that's pulling you down or somebody that's using you. When you got people that's calling you all the time and all they want to do is call you to get you to do something, they ain't got nothing to give you, but they want to call you to get you to do something. It's always, can I, or will you? Sometimes you don't answer the phone, because people like that always just suck the life out of you. And, if they're not giving anything, you get drained. You get burned out. So that's the season I'm in. I don't have so much on my plate, since that dissertation is done. But God done added a few more chapters to my book. So I'm trying to get those together, and I intend to get it out within 90 days. That is my goal. You got to set goals in life, and your words and your mouth got to line up with the goals that you set. So, in seeing that, if you see a woman that, is doing something, maybe she's fixing her credit, her language and everything is going to be about that. You can tell when a woman is looking for a man, because that's all she talk about. She want to be with this and she want to be with that, and she's doing this and she's doing that. being, that doctorate took all my time. And, then I'm still in my master's program for social work. So you really don't have time for all of that. So I guess like Martha, I keep my time busy to where I don't think about or do anything as far as that road. I have a gentleman or two that is always talking about, I should be married, or, one said it was a sin for me not to be married because I'm supposed to serve my husband or whatever. But I got to thinking, I told him, I said, and I was even talking to my pastor. I said, you know what? Statistically, there are 7 women to every man. In the world, there are 7 women to every man. So God is producing more women than he is producing men. That's the first point of that. The second point of that is it takes a strong woman. It takes a special type of woman to raise a man. And I'm not saying that she can raise him more than a man can. But, just because you're a male don't mean you can raise a man. But it takes a special type of woman to be able to raise a man into a man and not put her spirit into him. And then we have a lot of these feminine men running around. So if God gives you a man, then that means he knows you. He has everything in you to be able to produce the man that he requires him to be. I have 2 sons, 2 boys. I love them dearly. I have one on my right and one on my left. And my daughter, she's even so spoiled. So in raising men, I have to raise kings, not queens. So, like I said, there's 7 women to every man, which means that don't give men to have a license to have concubines. No, that don't give men to have that license. But it does say that every woman ain't gonna have a man. Not the way it is right now. God would have to start manufacturing and producing more men to catch up with the women. So women are able to live alone. They should be if they got their emotions in check. We got so many things that we can do. We nurture, we're emotional beings. We set the tone for the atmosphere. The church, the womb, the church we are the replica of the church. It's supposed to be nurturing. We're supposed to feed. We're supposed to take care of. So every woman don't have to have a man. Every woman ain't looking for a man. Now, I have my own issues. I haven't found one that can cover me. So, and I haven't been looking for one that can cover me. In order to be able to cover me, he gonna have to be somebody very special. So, I want to say, be careful what you say. When you come at somebody, or be careful what you say. You can throw yourself into depression. If you're looking for something, but you speaking against it, you're not going to get it. The same thing, the Bible says it like this, blessings and cursings come out of the same mouth. When you bless God, but you're speaking against his people, what you asking for, or the blessings that you want to have, is not going to come to pass. Because you're going against the very thing that you are requiring. I mean, how you going to go against God and ask God for something from him? I just got through talking to my son about that not the other day. I'm mama. He feel like he entitled to mama to do things because he had my grandbaby and, all of that. But grandma visit. Grandma don't raise kids. Grandma done raised all her kids. I'm 50 years old and I ain't trying to go back into changing diapers and raising nobody's kids. Helping and visiting and, stuff like that I can do. But I have rendered my life to my children all my life because most of it was as a single mom. And now it's my time. I want to put out a book. I want to go into ministry. God has showed me being a motivational speaker, running around, preaching the ecclesia, not this religious stuff. Religion ain't never done nothing for me. Well, maybe it structured my life and, the etiquette of how you're supposed to act in church and all that kind of stuff. But religion don't have no emotion. It don't know how to treat people. It don't know how to, be there for people when people need it. Religion just sets the order and pays the bills. But you have to have a heart to be able to want to go out and wash the feet of the homeless. And you have to have a heart to want to go out and do things for people. You have to have the heart of Christ. Religion does not have the heart of Christ. The ecclesia is the body of Christ. It's not a building. The ecclesia is us, the members, the one that have his heart. He's the head. That's what we need to be teaching more. That's what we need to be living more. And the best way we can teach it is through our actions. I was first ordained as an evangelist because everywhere I go, I preach Jesus. Everywhere I go, I talk about Jesus. In Walmart, I'm standing there talking about what God has done and helping somebody. And we having church in Walmart and catching the attention of everybody that's walking by. And everybody starts to go slower because, they're listening, they're getting something. So I don't know how many people with that one conversation that God has touched. But the fact that somebody is able to stand out there, in the midst of my going shopping, in the midst of my doing laundry, when I was in the laundromats and stuff like that, in the midst of wherever I am, God was able to have a person hear a word because God is always on my heart. He's always at the forefront. I'm always looking to bless him and have him get the glory out of my life every day. Every single day, in everything I do. If it's not going to give God the glory, if it does not glorify God, I don't want no part of it. Like I say, we got to watch our mouth. Watch what we say. Don't speak our own self into depression. Out of the mouth, the heart speaks. Whatever comes out of our mouth is what we believe in our heart. So if we believe that God is real, if we believe that he's still on the throne, then we would speak more Jesus. We would speak more Yahweh, more El Shaddai, more Jehovah Jireh. We would speak more of him than we would of COVID. God is bigger than COVID. He's still on the throne. Who believes that today? He's still on the throne. COVID does not have the power to have the seasons change the way they do. COVID don't have the power to have the sun come up and the moon and the sun set every day. There's something bigger than COVID. There's something bigger than you. I just have to believe in that something that's bigger than my reality. Because if you can't believe in something that's bigger than your reality, then you're stuck where you're at. You can't have dreams and visions if you don't dream and vision outside of your place of reality. Watch what you say. Watch what you say about others. They are the very ones that God may have sent to bless you, to be a blessing to you, to encourage you. As long as you got somebody in your life that is respecting you, honoring you, never causing ill manner against you, they got the heart of God. And watch what you say about them. Because whatever you say about them is going to turn back void on you. And what was it, Haman? He plotted whatever against Mordecai and he ended up falling into it. Jezebel did the same thing. She plotted, something for Elijah. And Jezebel ended up with the dogs, being ate up by the dogs. The very thing that you plot for somebody else may be what you fall into. Be careful what you say about people. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know if God ordained it or if God allowed it. Sometimes God will allow us to get, things to go through our life to get our attention because he's trying to show us something. Like with me, he'll hit my finances in a minute. That catches my attention real quick. Okay, Lord, what did I do? What I need to fix? Because that catches my attention. Because, see, I'm the income in my life. I have my son to help me, but I don't have multiple streams of income like I used to. So the 2 or 3 streams of income that I have, when they start not delivering what I needed to deliver, then I need to find out what's going on, because I don't need that to mess up. Because once you get in a financial mess, in a financial bind, it's hard to come out of it. Then you be praying for God to give you a miracle, a financial blessing, something to come through. Then you be praying for them stimulus checks that ain't guaranteed to come. I always laugh and I always make jokes, pray for a stimulus check, but God is my source. Stimulus checks ain't gonna come unless God allow it. The welfare system has been a crutch for many. Not taken away. It's good. I was on the welfare system. Got on it. I was on it before I was a bus driver. The welfare system, God taught me a lot. He taught me how to have medical, the importance of medical, being able to take care of my body, my health, my strength. He taught me how to, manage my finances with that fixed income that I had. He taught me a lot. So it served its purpose. But it's been a crutch for many for a long time because they in fear that if they get off of it, they can't do for themselves. Sometimes you got to step out there on faith. As long as you got Christ, as long as you got God in your life, you can step out there on faith because he is. You got to believe in him. Your faith ain't no good. So I stepped out there, got on a bus, scared, I was scared as I don't know what in training to drive that big old bus. When I ended, I was able to do wheelies in that bus. They were talking about how you learn to park this bus. I could park that bus without even moving the back wheels. But see, that's because God wanted to take me through that and show me that. I still have my CDL. Every once in a while, I want to go do a tour bus job or something. Go on vacation for free. All I got to do is drive them there. My favorite spot is the West Rim, Grand Canyon. I love that. Nice drive out, nice drive back. Eat, sleep with that bus running, sleeping in the back seat. That's the best sleep you can get with that engine vibrating that seat. I learned to have fun. But anyway, like I said, you got to watch what you say. People are delivered into your life for a reason. They either delivered to be a blessing or a cursing. Judas gets a bad rap. I was reading the story, and you don't get everything unless you study it. So I was studying the story. I was studying Mark's version of it. And in Mark's version, it showed that Judas didn't really want to do what it all came out to be. Because he told him that, the one that I kiss, that's the one. And take him away safely. Somebody that's against somebody that wants to call ill or evil against somebody, don't want you to be safe with them. They don't care. So he was upset, or he felt, some type of way when they took him, violently took him. He felt sorrow, and he ended up committing suicide because that's not how it was supposed to go in his mind. Like I say, we may sit and talk about people not knowing that the other person got an agenda against the person. I got so many people that, have taken my kindness for weakness. They have stolen from me. I've got documentation of things that have been stolen from me. I've got witnesses that back up that documentation of things that have been stolen from me. And these is from people that I have done nothing but tried to help. I would stop what I'm doing and go help them, and kept putting my stuff behind. I got a preaching the other day from my pastor. She said, "You Dr. Bell now. You ain't got time for that. It's time for you to start reaping the benefits of all that you toiled, to get that degree." And then I got another talking to, because, God comes to confirm his word, from another individual, beautiful woman of God. "You Dr. Bell now." And it's not to be prideful, but I can't be the plug no more. I can't be everybody's go-to person no more. I can't run around helping everybody and then they can't do nothing for me. I mean, I got people lying to me, that I would help. And they say they're going to do this or do that. And when that day comes, they don't. They forget about it. I had one instance where a person got into a situation, and I didn't want them to be in the situation because they was away from home. And this is something I don't normally do, but I felt that this person was in my inner court and that I could trust this person. And they spoke that, help me out, and I'll be able to return it, So I reach into my cup, into my finances, not the overflow, not the nonprofit. I trust and love this person that much to where I believed. So to make a long story short, I offered to help this individual. The day came and went. And then the next thing I know, I hear testimonies of everybody else that helped. Meanwhile, I found myself struggling to take care of my own stuff because I was too busy trying to help somebody else in their situation. I found myself in a situation. So things happen to let you know where your status is with people. Stop prioritizing everybody more than you prioritize yourself. So it was a lesson well learned. It's something that I won't do again, not with that understanding anyway. When you love somebody enough to sacrifice, put your own self in a bind, and they don't respect you, or they're not grateful enough to honor their own word, you can't trust them. So when you start to see that, believe them. Obviously they're in a situation to where they're going gracefully backwards, backsliding in their own predicament. You don't want to get caught up with that. So, forgiveness, friendship, everything comes with boundaries. You can't continue to let people treat you or mistreat you. Like I said, we're talking about, watch what you say, not only to yourself, about others. When you praising and praying to God, He don't just hear your prayers that you praising and praising to Him. He looks at your heart. You can say what you want to say. Ask for what you want to ask for. But if your heart is corrupt, if it's coming against His people, the Bible also talks about vengeance is mine. So if you look around your environment, your situation, and think back on the things that you said, the words that have came out of your mouth, you probably can see where you have spoke that situation into existence. Because like I said, your tongue governs your very world, your very being, because out of the heart, the mouth speaks. What's in your heart tells or manifests into your world every day. If you want to wake up being negative and miserable every day, wake up speaking negative and miserable every day. And that's what you'll do. If you want to be positive every day, speak positivity. It's going to take a little effort with that because we got a lot of negative people in the world. But, if you want to be an encourager, you got to find a way to encourage in every situation, not just in some, in every situation. David said it like this. He had to be able to encourage himself. So not only do you have to encourage others, you have to be able to encourage yourself. Now, I'm one of the ones that take my lessons, my life lessons, and use them as teaching moments to show others, what I have gone through and give them an insight to be able how to deal with it. Hopefully as an encouragement, not as a way to make the same mistakes I did. But that's how I raise my children too. My children see everything that I go through. And my daughter, she testified, Mama don't look like what she been through. But they see that, and I explain it to them in a way that they understand so they know not to make those mistakes. My daughter, she's a virtuous little girl. She gonna be something else because she takes what she sees her mama go through and she learns from it. That is a precious little girl. I still get on her butt, but that's a precious little girl. She's still a teenager. I still love her, but she's a precious little girl. She ain't just gonna let nobody walk all over her because she like a sponge. She listens with her eyes and her ears. She's my armor bearer for a reason. We're a tag team. So where you see one, you see the other. I ain't trying to toot my own horn, but some people say Dr. Bell is something else. Well, I say Lady Bree is going to be something else. She is articulate. She's Lady Bree for a reason. That little girl go to a restaurant and she tell you exactly how she want her steak or her hamburger. My pastor busted up laughing when she saw her order her. She said, how do you want it? She said, medium rare. She's something else. She's 16 and beautiful. I'm afraid that, not in a bad way, I'm afraid a lot of people going to take her kindness for weakness, but they going to get the raw side of Dr. Bell from her because, she a teenager. She radical. She ain't going to give you as much slack as I may have. But anyway, I'm going to start wrapping this up. Like I say, when you watch what you say will come out your mouth. If you say you're going to do something, do it. Don't borrow from somebody if you ain't going to pay it back. Honor your word. Your word is bond. If I can't trust your word, I can't trust you. Practice what you preach. Don't say you don't do something or you don't be in counsel with this person and that person doing this, that, and the other. And then you find yourself doing it anyway. If you're going to teach people one thing, you better be able to be doing that lesson yourself. I don't teach nothing that I don't been through. I stay within my vein. I stay within my lane. I teach, how to come out of sexual molestation and drugs and all that. Because I know what I can relate to. I can't tell you how to be a billionaire because I ain't one yet. How I'm going to tell you how to go somewhere and I ain't been. I talk about communication because I learned to communicate with people. Everybody can't communicate. And that's a big problem in a lot of people because those that don't know how to communicate, what they communicate don't come out the way they want it to come out. That's one of the first things they teach you in college is how to communicate. If you don't know how to communicate, and communication is with the tone. It sets the tone. You can say one thing one way and say it in a different tone and it means something totally different. if don't nobody take no college degree, I think they should at least take that first class called communication. So they learn how to communicate. Because you communicate with your actions more than you do your mouth. Watch what you say. I ain't just talking about with your lips. I'm talking about with your body language too. A woman that comes into church and she's always in the church, been in the church for a while, always wearing mini dresses and sitting in the front row trying to appease the pastor, we know what she's saying. You ain't got to guess what she's saying. That's just off her body language. She ain't never got to say a mumbling word. So that's what I'm saying. You express more with your body language. If I'm not acting like a hoe, don't treat me like one. If I'm not acting like I'm desperate, then don't come at me like I'm desperate. Treat me as I act. Don't sit there and, with your own imaginations, disrespect me by treating me some way that I'm not. And we got a lot of men that's been hurt. A lot of women too. That's been hurt in relationships by others, by maybe narcissistic demons and, narcissistic personalities or whatever. And when they come out of that situation, they want to, not intentionally maybe, but they want to make that new person pay the price for the sin that the other person did. First of all, I don't even connect with people like that. I was accused of being in contact or in connection with an individual that I can't even stand what she's saying for. I don't like the way she raised her kids. I don't like what she's saying for. She's so selfish and, in herself. To the fact that they would even think that I would be in connection with that individual is an insult to me. Because, not that I'm high and mighty, but I think higher than that. I don't treat people like that. I'm not like that. And if I was like that, I wouldn't do half the stuff that I do. I'm selfish when it comes to what goes in my cup. But all the overflow, I'm very giving. I'm one of the biggest givers in the house. This individual, she's all for herself. Her kids suffer too. Because she's so into herself. But I'm supposed to be in connection with something like that. I would never be in connection with something like that. Because it goes against what I believe. I just don't believe that. I believe in motherhood. I believe in raising my children. I have placed my life on hold to make sure my kids have. I said before, I have never chosen a penis over my children. I've kept my children safe. For the most part, I stayed single because I didn't want no other man coming in here trying to tell my kids what to do. And then, everybody ain't going to raise some other man's kids like they supposed to, or like you would think they should. I wouldn't know what was going on with them when I wasn't here. And I just didn't want to put my kids in that situation. I didn't want my kids to have to answer to no other man, especially no man I could trust. I couldn't trust. I'd have to know that I could trust him first. And once I knew that, then maybe. But like I said, I haven't found one to cover me. And covering me means covering me and my children. My daughter is precious. Because I had been sexually molested for 14 years of my life, I make sure I protect her. If any man, and I know what I'm saying, if any man ever came to my daughter in that, y'all would have to pray for Dr. Bell. Definitely would have to pray for Dr. Bell. I don't know, maybe that's why I like prison ministry. I can go in any prison in the state of Nevada. But I'm just saying, y'all would have to pray for Dr. Bell to make sure I keep my sound mind, that I would be right. So instead of putting myself, you pick and choose your battles. Instead of dealing with that demon, I just chose to raise my children. I didn't want no man coming in overbearing my boys. So it is what it is. Every woman ain't sitting around hurt behind some man that they don't want to be with a man. Every woman ain't looking to go be with a female just because she been hurt. Some women choose to be single out of the benefit of their children. So their children have. Now my daughter, she's 16. She the last one in the house that I got. Well, my son is here helping me, but I think next year he gonna get his own place. Because he's starting to do some things that getting on mama nerves. My daughter's still here. She finna go to cosmetology school because she wants to do hair and nails and, have her own business. She already does the cakes and stuff, pies and cooks and, Bree's Kitchen. That's her business. Like I said, she ain't like no ordinary 16-year-old. I love her. But like I said, I'm more into my children than I am into any man or anything. They are my ride or die. And I believe that's how a mother's mindset should be, but every mother's mind ain't like that. And if we don't agree, we can't walk together. That's scripture there. So I'm going to get off of this thing here. It's probably a little long. I ain't been done a moment of truth in a minute. I've been asked to be doing Bible studies, and I'm probably going to open the scriptures and post something on YouTube or whatever. Because, people, they like the way I teach the Bible. They like how I see or whatever. That's not me. That's God. Don't get me in trouble. That's all I always say. God gave me a way to look at the Bible different than anybody else because he makes each of us unique. Nobody's more perfect or more special than the other. Perfection is not a destination. It's a process. Everybody's being perfected. That's scripture. So don't think you're less than. You are beautiful in God's eyes. He loves you just as much as he loves me. He's no respecter of person. Therefore, those of us that are a respecter of person, that's saying that the love of God ain't in us. So when you can talk and treat one person better than the other, who are you? If God was to do you that way, you'd have a problem. So anyway, y'all have a blessed day. I might come back on here again. Like I said, I hadn't had a moment of truth in a while, and I was sitting there with my grandbaby. She's so sweet, so beautiful. I say everybody ain't going through in COVID like people think, just as God is, people are dying. Their birthings are still coming. People are still living. We don't understand why things happen to people, but God does. Maybe they walk wasn't where God needed it to be. All we can do is be mindful of our own walk, our own mouth. If all hell is breaking loose in our life, that's because our mouth done caused it some way, shape, or form. Whether we done talked against it, talked it up, or talked against somebody. The people that God uses to help you, he's got to use people to help you. Because if he was to drop something down from heaven without using a person to help you, by the time it got to you, it'd knock you out. So he's got to use people that have his spirit to help you. And if you're speaking against the very one that he got to help you, you cursing yourself. Be mindful to speak life. Speak death on some of the things. Some things got to be pruned out of your life. Things that don't edify God. Things that don't edify you. Things that's just using you. Things that, that's not for you. Speak death. But speak life to most everything around you. And that's what you'll have is life, and life more abundantly. Y'all take care. God bless.